So to start off our gluten-free bagels, we're gonna use around 1 to 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, and we're gonna dissolve this in some warm water, and then we'll add our yeast. We're now gonna add 1 tablespoon of Dove's Farm quick yeast, and we're gonna mix this and let this froth for around 5 to 10 minutes. You'll see when the yeast has been activated. So for our dry ingredients, we're going to be using a mix of gluten-free all-purpose flour, gluten-free rice flour, and gluten-free white bread mix. I can leave the links in the caption, or follow me on Instagram for more information about where to get these flours from. And I'll tell you the quantities of how much. So we're going to be using 1 bowl of gluten-free white bread mix, half a bowl of rice flour, and half a bowl of all-purpose flour. And then we're going to make a mix and add some xanthan gum just to give our dough a bit of stability and that it doesn't break, and some baking powder so that our dough rises. So I'll show you how much we add and how we form our dough. So here is our 1 bowl of gluten-free bread flour, adding around half a bowl of rice flour, and here is half a bowl of all-purpose gluten-free. All our flours are gluten-free, bought by gluten-free brands. So now we're just going to give this a mix and make sure all our flour is mixed well together. So now we're going to add 1 teaspoon of xanthan gum and same amount of baking powder. You also want to add around half a teaspoon of salt to our mixture as well, otherwise our dough could be a bit sweeter. If you want to skip out the salt, we're just going to add some salt to our mixture as well, around 1/4 teaspoon. So we're just going to give it a light mix, and we're also now going to add some oil, around 4 tablespoons of oil. So we have kneaded our dough, and as you can tell, it's kneaded really nicely. Just finish kneading it off by giving it a few punches, and then we're going to bring it together like this. As you can tell, when you put your finger in it, it does press. So you want this to be softer than a normal dough. And now we're going to leave it to rise and proof for a couple of hours before we start boiling our water and then baking our bagels. So we've let our dough rise for around 1.5 hours, and as you can tell, it's kind of increased in size and it's quite airy and soft. So we're now going to be able to make our dough shapes and boil them. But in the meanwhile, I've made this little herb mix to put on top of our bagels, so we can dress these before they go in the oven to bake, and we'll have some really nice herby bagels, which will be really nice to taste. You can use whatever you like: sesame seeds, poppy seeds, flax seeds, but we're just using herbs today, just to give it that nice herby, fresh flavour. Okay, so here we've got some water to boil, and I've added some salt in this. And once it's boiled, we'll be able to add our donuts. But until then, let's shape them. So here you can tell I've took balls of our dough, shaped them, and put little holes in the middle. These are the sizes that I've made, so they're not too big, not too small. If you'd like them to be bigger, you can obviously change it to your preference. But now I'm just going to put this in the boiling water for a few minutes on each side. You can tell that the bagel floated to the top. So when your bagels are ready to be flipped over, they'll float to the top, and then that shows that they're ready to be flipped over. Okay, so once they come out, they'll look like this, and we're just going to add a little bit of milk for a glaze. I'm using dairy-free milk to keep the recipe vegan, but you can use egg wash if you prefer, completely up to you. We're also going to add some of the herb mix that we made and just sprinkle it on the top, and then these are ready to bake. So guys, here you can tell that our bagels are ready. So we baked them for around 30 to 40 minutes, and you can tell that they've come out straight from the oven now, and the herb seasoning stuck to it. The glaze has made it gone nice and golden brown, and you want to bake it until the base looks like this as well. So hard on the outside and soft on the inside, as you can tell here. So our bagels are ready, and we're going to enjoy this with some lovely salad and whatever stuffing you want, cream cheese, hummus, completely your choice. And you can customize these to make them sweet or savory depending on what you like. And you can also experiment with the dough by adding olives, whatever herbs, seeds you like. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this recipe, and just to show that gluten-free bagels are possible. You can make them vegan as well, and these are really easy to make. They only took around an hour to prep and then around an hour to make and bake, so they're really easy, really yummy, and I hope you enjoy this recipe. And if you do, like, comment, subscribe, and follow me on my Instagram. Thank you.